doing a roll call. Dan?
Present.
Joanne?
Present.
Lisa? Present. We're all here.
We're
Thank
all
you.
here.
Okay, let's move to our next agenda item. And that is we're going to do our approval of our minutes. And do we need a few moments to review those?
Do you have them on paper?
I think the answer is yes, correct? A few moments to review?
Well, this isn't the minutes. This is the meetings.
You can. Accept.
Thanks for having Ally at the last meeting. That worked out great.
Oh, yeah.
She did a great job.
Nice.
Oh, yeah, thanks for reminding. I'd forgotten. Thank you.
I will move to approve the minutes.
I'll second them.
Thank you. All right. Our next item, items from citizens not present, but not on our agenda, and we do not have any citizens this evening. So we'll go ahead and move on to our tree board member comments. And do we have go ahead, Dan.
So 5 minutes.
Okay,
So I did contact the elementary school principal and gave her this call for volunteers. I contacted the middle school principal and sent him an email that included this. And also I handed to the secretary at the school the petition and invited them to come to a tree board meeting to make their presentation. So that's that. I contacted 2 science teachers at the high school, Rachel Cooper and Justin Silcox. And I'll follow up with them. I sent them an email and I did drop off the flyer and then I emailed the flyer to them also. So that we've done that. Also, this call for volunteers is out in the reception area here. Plus, and when the pool was having their presentation about at First Friday, they graciously allowed us to put this on their table. And I also gave one to one of the people from Colorado Mountain College. And that, so they've been handed out. The town is going to put this on their website, plus it'll be on their Facebook and they'll get it in their newsletter. The only other thing I have is to follow up on the golden rain tree. I've got some more on the new site that we reviewed last week. I went into some more sites, and in some states that tree is considered an invasive species. So I don't believe that we need to introduce another invasive species into Carbondale.
Oh, Jared asked me to pass along that your comments had been taken under advisement and it is not on the proposed.
So,
list
okay,
at 5:20.
Yeah, and I actually talked to the landscape architect. And we talked about various other species besides that one.
so that's the end of my comments.
To respond to that, I ride my bicycle over there and it is a swamp back there. So I'm thinking that maybe we should advise them that swamp white oak could be a really good species. Did you discuss that one?
No, I did not.
I think it could do pretty well over there. I mean, there's a puddle that's permanently behind that building, and since it's such a catchment basin for so much water, I think that that's not going to go away. And if we put that towards, more towards the north and the west on there, you know how it dovetails? It's always wet back there. I don't see how they're going to change that even through any grading. And then I have another question, comment about also riding around. Who is responsible for weeds on these properties that people take over? There's the pathway that goes off of 133 to the west that goes over to where the lumber yard is. And there are weeds past my waist. And wondering how that's going to affect it. I don't know if that sidewalk ends their property on the east side. And who's responsible for the rest of that property? And then also to the south of where the city market property is, there's kochia taller than I am in there when I'm standing up. And so that's just on those, you know, here's the edge of the city market property, and then there's that housing. So where the housing is, they're this tall. And then when you go into go by where the fenced area is, there's kochia up against the fences from last year, and it's just a weed patch. So if you're a homeowner, you can get called out on your weeds. So if you're a commercial property owner, what's the difference on that? It will affect growth of other things in there.
You know, I'm not sure. That would probably be a planning question. And it would probably come from them too, as far as if anything were needed to be done or code or something.
Yeah, I
enforcement.
think it's probably more of a building because you're talking about where they're putting in the new construction south of the city market.
Yes,
Yep, so that's a current construction site. I can pass the information along to Japeth, who is the building
abandoned
inspector.
over there.
There've been some delays in the construction for a variety of reasons. But, you know, there is requirements for construction zones to, you know, maintain the weeds, so.
Okay, well, the places where
presuming-
it's taller, if you go and cut, here's the city market parking lot, and then you can cut in between the buildings. So here's where the drive-through, can't walk through pharmacy window is. You go that way to your left when you get onto that sidewalk area.
Okay, I'll
Ripe
pass
with
the
seeds.
information along,
Thank you.
and they can talk to the landowner and see if they can get something done.
Alrighty, thank you.
Okay,
I had one more. The spruce tree, and I know it's not us, the spruce tree at the corner by the Forest Service. They whacked those roots off on the west side. They never treated them. They never gave them ever any cover. It's open. That tree has yet to be irrigated this year. And they applied a chemical in August that looks like it's for spruce beetle. It's against federal law to do what they did. There was contraindication for drought and root issues. And I'm wondering, why they would put that down, and if you're doing anything about that.
I don't know any facts about what they've done to that tree. I don't know why they're deciding we're gonna treat it, even though it hasn't been watered in, I don't know, 5 years at least. Yeah, I don't know what. I don't know what they've done to that tree. They haven't contacted me, or maybe they've contacted Kevin. I can ask Kevin, but I don't know.
Okay, I'm just wondering if they know something about insects on spruce that we need to know about.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I can look into it.
Okay, I can show you the picture of the pesticide thing that I took a picture of with the
Okay.
bird poop on it.
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
I did see the Save a Tree group over at that tree this afternoon, doing something. I don't know what they're doing. This is the Christmas tree, right?
Yes.
Yeah, the big one.
Spruce tree.
Yeah, the spruce tree. Yeah, I don't know what Save a Tree was doing at they had something that, it looked like they were injecting something at the base.
It's probably the same stuff, right, to do another injection. However, when you read the label, no drought stress and no root issue, and they whacked the roots off on the west side. So. Violation of federal law.
Okay. Any other comments for that section? Information only items. We have 3 bullet points. Tree inventory, new board members, and the 2024 summer activities. I think, Carl, do you want to do an update on the tree inventory effort?
Yeah, so it's in part of, well, it's part of the Arborist report, but basically unit 1, 2, and 10 are complete. Just gathering updated information. And just to let you know, unit 1, 2, and 10, that's basically like north of Main Street, pretty much all public trees north of Main Street. That's what 1, 2, and 10 are. So that's good. We've made some progress. We still have more to do, but that's okay. It being our first season doing it, start kind of trying to work out the kinks and the kind of data that we're getting and stuff. So, yeah, that's good. Just speaking of people interested in volunteering, I've had 2 emails, probably because of this, from people that are interested that want to help with the inventory. So I got back to one of them and I'll get back to another one tomorrow. So hopefully, yeah, that can be good. Get some volunteers interested. This season, we don't have a lot of time to still do it, but even, get people going, and next spring and summer, they could really help some. So that's good.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Oh, that's terrific. Did they want to be members too?
They didn't speak about wanting to be tree board members. They just, it was, specific to
That's
the
okay.
tree inventory, just interested. So we'll see how that see how that works out.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, I also put in, I think Ally said at the last meeting, I put in for the budget to get the upgraded tree inventory program. So hopefully that will go through, because that could make the process easier, and it has some more features, has abilities to kind of archive some of the older data, which is one of the issues with the current program, because I don't want to lose the old data. Because it's good to know where, maybe there used to be a tree and it isn't there anymore. I don't want to just get rid of it, so.
Gotcha.
And also this, if it gets approved, this new program, it has ability to make kind of maps that the public can see. So it could be a map for like memorial trees or a map for EAB or, things like that. So we'll see. But that's all kind of related to inventory stuff. So, but these programs, the way they work now is you subscribe to it and then it's an internet kind of based thing, a web-based thing. So they kind of keep getting more expensive and more expensive. So it's definitely, if we commit to it, we have to know that we're going to commit to it for long-term. Because so anyhow, hopefully it goes through.
It's not a one and done, it's a subscription, yeah.
Yep.
So that the chances are that they'll increase the subscription over time.
Yeah, every couple of years, probably. But I think, I think it's worth it because it can just really help us do a lot of things. So hopefully it'll go
So
through.
it goes beyond what the state's program. Is.
Yeah, the state's program is really basic. But yeah, this one just, I can archive data, I can create, different reports,
Okay.
different kind of maps that people can access, the public, and all kinds of other things. Yep. But
Oh, that's neat.
If you need a selling point for that, remember how relieved the council was when it wasn't going to be billions of dollars for Emerald Ash Borer when we came in last year? So remind them of how effective this can be to track things like that.
yep. Yeah.
Because we saved them more than they thought that would be,
Oh, yeah.
but this is a good way to monitor it.
Right. Yep, so that's inventory stuff.
Okay, thank you. Our next bullet item is new board members. We do have an application. I'm guessing you know who this person is.
I know who that person is.
So,
She'll be at the next meeting.
okay, so, does everybody have a copy of this application? This is, should I read it?
Sure, yeah. you're
This
welcome
is
to.
spouse, right?
Huh?
Spouse, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So Dan's spouse has finally succumbed to the tree talk at home, I suppose. And decided that she should join the tree board. I don't know, is it to keep track of you a little bit more during
Yeah,
those
right.
times or? Okay. Anyway, well, and so this is something that we would, I think that we just would pass along to the board saying that, yes, we think this person should join us. And that process, Kay, do we need to just agree that we want to pass this application along or?
So I think that it would be helpful to have Meredith
Oh,
here
okay,
and then you'll need to do a formal motion recommending her approval
okay,
to the Board of Trustees and they'll do the
okay,
final approval.
great, okay. So it sounds like we'll still have about another month left before we
Right.
can, okay.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Any other,
What did she say her credentials are?
she married to
Right there,
Dan?
you
She
got
just
it.
said she's married to Dan, yeah. No, I'm just kidding. That's not it. I think you had mentioned that there were a couple other people interested in, that you
Well,
talked to?
we're, this information that's on this call to volunteers
Okay,
will be going on the town website, in the town newsletter,
Okay.
town Facebook page. And then I'm gonna go
okay,
over and talk to Katie and Kay and give them a donation, personal donation in the name of the tree board and have them read
okay.
the need for volunteers.
So yeah, we do. we
So
need-
that's fine. So
Yes.
we'll get that.
Okay, great.
Maybe if you go over there on Friday morning and Marty's there, we could get him
Well,
to
that's
mention
true.
it
If
when
he's
he's
gonna, yeah,
on.
if they're gonna be at the, I wonder if they're gonna be at the,
Well, he
Smithy.
usually he usually comes on Friday on April's show.
right.
And since he was our liaison and served well for so many
Terrific.
years, that could be a good tie-in.
Okay. All right.
Okey doke. So we're still, yeah, Carl, if anybody says, gee, I'd like to learn more about your tree board, just let them know.
Oh, yeah.
They're welcome to come to our meetings. And so,
Yep, yep.
yeah, we did have one interested citizen, and hopefully that individual will connect with us next month. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah,
Anything
I'm
else?
hoping too that the middle school students
Mhm,
will be at our next meeting
mhm,
concerning that petition
Mhm.
that they had.
Yeah.
Actually, I read the petition again. They're looking for 5 trees in Soper's Park. So it's kind of interesting. So we'll see. But I also, in the letter to the principal of the school, I said that they would have to talk to the tree board, present to the tree board, Parks and Rec, and possibly to the Board of Trustees. And, but I also said that the aquatic center could be another place for them that they could, for planting trees too. It's in proximity to Soper's Park, and it could be a possibility. So get those kids involved in that. And I told them, I said, this whole process could take up to 2 years because the pool's gonna take up to 2 years. So
Mhm.
it's kind of interesting. So
Yeah.
anyway, we'll get off that. I'm done.
Okay, next bullet item, our 2024 summer activities. It's hard to imagine summer is, I guess, officially over.
Oh, that's right.
And
Saturday.
I know, it seems like we just got started.
But the
But we
weather's
had, we started off our summer with our really wonderful planting over
Arbor Day.
at that little park. That was great. It just seems like we just did it.
Yeah.
We did some,
Tree's still alive too.
And
Yeah.
it's looking good too.
Yeah,
It really
it-
leafed
Yeah.
out.
I don't know if you guys noticed, but we had, after we planted it, we had like 2 freezes. And one of them, the sprinklers were on and the tree was covered in ice.
well,
And
That probably protected it.
I don't know, I was worried about it, but it leafed out, so.
There we go.
we had a little bit of activity at the Dandelion Day. That was it was to the degree that we could, I think a lot of us were kind of involved
were
in
out of
something
town.
else. So yeah, you were out of town at graduation, stuff like that. But I think every time we get out, we learn a little bit more. And so it's always good for us to, even though it may not be the most glamorous presentation, it's still that we're there. A little bit of First Friday, but maybe one or two of those, couple of those.
2 First
Yeah.
Fridays.
You did June?
I don't remember
May and
July,
June.
May and
There
June.
wasn't
I
here.
think
Yep.
that's, yeah. Let's see. Oh, top of my
We had a
tongue.
tree walk.
Yeah.
Yes, the tree walk. Yeah. That was a good one. We also had a little bit of training that one night that we did on the
Tree
inventory.
Right.
Yeah. So I think these were, we might consider making, well, a lot of these we make standard. The tree walk, of course, I think that's becoming a really important component that we try to have. And maybe we want to increase that in the summertime. That might be an option.
Sure.
I think that the first Fridays can be a little challenging. It can be, maybe the location. If we can get something back over in the shade a little bit, it's just always a little bit
True,
tough to be
true,
in that
true.
sunny spot.
Well, I thought was really interesting that I heard on KD&K yesterday on the report for the Board of Trustees meeting
Mhm.
that was on Tuesday, that the town is using cell phone locations to tell how many people are attending events. And I'm going, whoa, wait a minute. That's why I have my location turned off, but that's another story.
Mm.
And the First Friday was by far the biggest event
Mhm.
with people. Although the last First Friday, there were not many people out on the street.
Wasn't it kind of rainy or cold?
No, it was a beautiful night.
Was it? Mm.
Yeah, it was, and that, but the other ones were really well attended.
Mhm.
They said they were,
First Friday.
Mountain Fair was low, in attendance this year, lower attendance. And that, but the fact that.
Everybody had their cell phones, their location services.
Well, that could
turned
be-
off,
last-
So nobody could find them.
But it was interesting that they're able to, through some service, be able to track cell phones when they have events and see how many more people are in that area.
Mm.
But anyway, I think I think the activities we had were good, and we can continue, like you say, Lisa, continue to refine those and
Mhm.
let's carry on from there. I think that's good.
Mhm. Yeah.
All
If we,
right.
if we
There's,
do
uh,
have more
There's
board-
one thing I know we talked about, we never did it, but maybe the farmer's market. We could try that once. I don't know if anyone ever has,
even just
I
a,
have time for that.
but that's something we haven't tried.
that's
It could be
yeah,
interesting. I
that's
don't
a-
know.
That's a group of people that,
It is, and
that we
it's-
can connect with, I
we
think.
just have to come, that's what, it's about 4 hours, 5 hours.
10 to 3.
Yeah.
That's fine for me. That's easy for me to do. I'm happy
Like
to.
it's every week.
Yeah, but there's not the vendors aren't there every week.
Okay.
The same vendors
So you
aren't
would
there.
want to, like.
Yeah, we could figure something out. We could try it. We could try it out and see what the response is and then go from there.
It might, I mean, it's something we haven't tried. And it's during me and Ally's work hours, so, we might be able to swing by for an hour or, kind
Oh,
of, we could switch out,
okay.
kind of man the.
If it starts in June and we plan to have a tree walk, if we do it a week or two before that walk, we might get a lot of
That's a,
in-person
that's a,
contact
That's a good
to
idea.
drum up some PR.
So kind of do the June farmer's market as a way to get interest in the tree walk.
And if we wanted to do 2 tree walks, I have a plum tree that's borne fruit for years. And it bloomed completely this year. And then I was out of town and I think it got nailed in the snow. I got 1 plum.
Yeah,
This is the
ours-
first time. And so if we do it, say, tree walks in June and August, because it's a fluke that it's nice right now. We have some trees are done with their leaves already. They're really fallen. So if you went in September, it would be too late.
good idea.
And May would be too early. July's hot.
Oh, wonderful.
If you wanted to do 2 walks, it would be
Oh,
good
that's
to
a
do it
great
that way.
idea.
Yeah, so that's just something different we could try. Actually, Cammie from the state, she suggested that. She's like, well, you might try the farmer's market.
Oh, thanks. That's a
Mhm.
great idea.
Mhm. Mhm. Okay, any other? Okay, we'll move on to item number 6. We're already there. Carl, if you want to give us any more highlights from your report?
Okay, okay, we already talked about the volunteers. Tree work completed. I've been doing some pruning over at Giannetti Park. Sign clearance pruning. We spent a couple of days kind of in the rec path behind Orchard Church. That one always needs work like every year. It's a lot of Siberian elms and it gets really enclosed, and just try to keep it open enough so we can drive a vehicle, get through there. Yeah, we've just been continuing doing lots of mulch rings here and there as we have time. And that's been good. That's been fun. There were some cottonwood trees that were removed under power lines over kind of on 11th and 12th in Colorado. There were some trees that were hit pretty bad by the power company like last summer, and they were just not looking very good anymore. So had those taken out. Yeah, there was a Siberian elm removal kind of close to 226 Garfield. Those elms on that street have just been starting to decline and drop a lot of branches. So over the last couple of years, I've just been removing those. that would be interesting one to look at replanting. It is right next to the ditch, but the sidewalk has been really heaved up. So it'd be interesting, yeah, talk to our streets crew and kind of look at it and be like, what do we want to try to do there? I don't want to throw trees in if they want to do sidewalk work stuff too, so that'll be interesting. See how that progresses in the future. Things to complete. So there's a dirt parking lot at 4th and Garfield, kind of right there across from the launch pad. And there's some elms there that are in the right of way. And the town also leases that lot. And those things are really hanging low. So that whole area just needs general pruning, those elms.
Even at the base of the trees too, there's stuff suckering up.
Yeah. And well, there's stuff
Okay.
blocking signs in there. So that's a whole, I put together kind of a map and getting that together to put into an RFQ. Yeah, there's a ton of work right there. And then there's the big poplar tree in front of the smithy. It just has some dead wood in it. And I think that's gonna happen next week. Yeah, I think that's next week. It's soon. They're gonna come and just prune more dead out of that. It's just doing the slow decline that it's gonna continue to do as those trees do. And there's just various other kind of stuff, all Siberian elm stuff. And I'll be putting together RFQ for kind of late winter. Early winter kind of pruning, late fall. Yeah, tree risk stuff. Chris Foreman said he was gonna look at the big cottonwood. I got him like the last assessment and I have not heard back from him. So I don't know if he's been really busy or whatnot. I don't know that he's done it. He said he's gonna do it, and gave me a quote but I haven't heard anything, so he probably hasn't done it. I know he's a really busy guy. So I'll keep following up with him on that. Tree planting. Okay, it says we'll be ordering trees from the Colorado Tree Coalition. I actually got that order in a few days ago, about 20 plus trees. So that's good. Yep. So I got that order in. So that will come next April. So we'll have 20 plus trees from them, plus I'm going to source another 9 trees for over there on Keeter Road. Bigger trees because those are right on the road. So I need bigger ones there. And I haven't sourced those yet. I'm going to try to get those pre-ordered, hopefully, so I can get the species I want. But yeah, so that's moving along. So that's good. That's nice. It's been a lot of trees having to be removed. So it's fun to look towards tree planting now and actually start making progress on that. Yeah, we already talked about tree inventory, tree protection. So I met with the building inspector and we're just kind of working on fine tuning, the town tree protection process. And it may take a couple of tries to kind of fine tune what makes sense, what's logical, and not make it too many steps. But seems like right now what we're trying to do is just get it. It's part of the building inspector's checklist. So I'll get the plans. If I look at it and identify something like, okay, this tree needs to be protected, then he puts that on his checklist and then he'll inspect it. So that's kind of basically where we're kind of starting right now. I'm sure it will be elaborated. I'll keep you guys updated. I think we're just trying. We're going to just continue to work through it, improve it. And yeah, I'll keep you updated on that. And let's see. Okay, the tree drawing. I delivered those trees because I remember we kind of did the drawing a little bit later.
Right.
And I didn't want to give it to them in the middle of summer when it's hot and have them plant it. So, but I got those delivered now.
Do-
like a few
Do
weeks
they need
ago.
help planting them?
I gave, no, I gave them Cammy has that nice guide, the planting
Okay.
guide. Yep, yep. So, yep, got those delivered. Yeah, so that was good.
On your tree coalition trees, are they B and Bs?
No, they're super trees.
Or super trees?
They're called super trees. They're like, they grow them in air pots.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys have seen those yet, but they're a similar size to a container tree.
Okay.
They
So like 20 or 15.
Yeah, they're smaller trees. They're not big 2.5-inch
Okay.
trees, but they're called super trees. And that's the company. I believe it's out of Oregon. But they grow them in these air pots. And I guess the idea is when the roots get to the little hole in the pot, they just kind of stop but they don't circle.
Okay.
It's air pruning. Yeah. So it makes like a really fibrous, dense kind of root ball.
Oh, nice.
So that's the style of the super trees. When I worked for the city of Longmont, we planted super trees there, a certain percentage. So
You ever go
So-
back
Yeah.
and see how they're doing?
I don't make it through there very often. I know the last time I was through there, there's one that I planted and they had redone the street or something, so it just wasn't even there anymore, you know,
You know, Busman's Holiday.
And then
but
do you just cut away the pot then?
no, you just take them out of the pot, just like a container one, but you don't have to do, if you remember when we planted the
Is
container
it-
one,
You don't have to
The
score
root
the
ball.
root ball.
yeah, you don't have to like.
Yeah, the root ball's already,
So it's similar to a tree grow bag.
yeah.
Possibly,
cool.
yeah,
Tree grow bag, they don't go around, they go
Yeah.
out and they stop.
yep.
Okay,
So like you don't have to do root pruning. I mean, you always check and make sure you see the trunk flare, see that flare. But yeah, they're, I got 20 plus of those. So that would be good. Just kind of standard species that we use a lot. I did pick out a few David elm trees, which is it's one of the elm varieties that is supposed to be one of the better ones. It's called a David elm. So we can see how those do. Did I pick out anything else special? I think, or different? Maybe I picked out one, it was like a service berry, but more in a tree form.
Bears will like that.
Yeah. But I think that all the other ones are pretty standard. But anyhow, that's good. Yeah, so super trees. We'll have plenty of tree planting. So if we want to, speaking of volunteers, figuring out days that makes sense to have volunteers help with that,
and part of our Arbor Day too, right?
Yeah, we could definitely do some of those for Arbor Day.
Okay, so we can have, I put a little note here to advertise that and that. I have a question. The Colorado Tree Coalition, is that
Yep.
through a grant or are we paying for those?
No, it's just through our own budget.
Okay,
Yep.
but we can request money from them for trees through a grant. We have in the past.
Yeah, we probably could. Yeah, they have grants available.
The reason I ask
Yeah.
is that this could be a good thing if with the students get involved in this, that could be something we could do.
Arbor Day poster contest.
There we go. We can do that too. I have another question, Carl, on the Smithy poplar.
Yes.
I mean, we're probably, most of us are aware that tree is declining. There's no question about it. I mean,
Right.
you cut a large branch off earlier this summer that was down under 8 feet and that I pointed out that I almost bumped into. It was just about 6. And if you look at the form, if you stand back and look at the form of the tree, it's pretty poor at this point. So, I mean, at some point, I guess a decision will be made what's gonna happen to that tree, right?
Yep. I don't feel that it's at a point to where it's at high risk.
Okay.
But yes, it is slowly declining.
Yeah.
Yep.
This makes me think that it might be important for some of the trees that are more noticeable around the town that our citizens become aware, we're doing everything we can to maintain the tree, but they don't live forever. And just
And
thinking,
they're impacted
they're impacted by us.
by where they're growing too.
Yeah.
Much like the tree at the Spruce Building. When the irrigation died, the
Yeah.
tree died. So, and that because it was severely impacted by the building of the building.
And the reminder that to our citizens, especially those that may not have lived here in the West for a while, is that this is an arid environment.
Right.
And I think I think that's a perspective that does come into play a lot for us. We have people who have grown or, been exposed to different, more deciduous environments.
Right.
And so at first glance, our environment looks like that. But we have to remind them that all of these trees this is not their, native home. This is cultivated. So I'm sure you're thinking about how to speak to, maybe ways that you would like to represent that perspective to citizens.
Yeah, I know, like
any
when
ideas?
that branch that I cut off, there was a lot of comments on Facebook about it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that definitely is a tree where I think sticking with the facts about it is probably going to be the helpful in terms of just what's happening with it. Why are we pruning it? And
Another
that kind of
perspective
stuff.
for
And
that tree too is there was another one that was just down the street about 100 feet away. And that tree was removed because it was a similar tree, but it started going like this. It was the size of that tree, but it started going like this and it was leaning out into the street, and it got to the point where large vehicles couldn't get by it. So they eventually just cut that tree down.
Get rid of that tree.
Yeah,
Let those vehicles go by.
right.
I wonder if we could find a photo of when they started the village smithy.
Oh, that would be.
I wonder if Chris and Terry planted that, because I think it was 74, right?
Could be.
I think they've been around, the smithy's been there for 50 years now.
Yep.
And I wonder if they planted it, because the other part of that is when that tree does disappear, and it will, because we will have to disappear it, that is not an irrigated space, so we're not going to be able to just remove and replace it. So another thing that has to be addressed, since it's a town tree, is will there be something planted in its stead if we're going to follow our own rules about irrigating?
yeah, and I think the tree board could help get information out about that tree too. Like that would
I
help
think
me. Like if or even if you guys, I don't know, helped collect like historic, like you're saying, like photos.
I can
and-
talk to Linda Criswell because
So-
she can,
I
she's
think-
with the Historical Society, so I can get,
Play like
I'll do that.
a good role,
Yeah.
because sometimes it, if it comes from
Yeah.
the town arborist,
Yes.
When will you be doing the pruning on that tree? Do you have an idea?
I think it's gonna be next week.
Oh.
Let's see.
I was gonna say, if you had a period that was a few more days, it's possible that we could even get something into the sun,
Mhm.
like don't be, Carl's doing a great job keeping this tree going, taking down a little dead wood. And like all of our senior citizens, in the area, we take care of them the best that we can.
I mean,
To your
one
point on
thing,
that.
yeah,
When you're walking across the street or making an attempt to walk across the street, the great majority of people are not stopping at a crosswalk, et cetera, et cetera. So I don't think that it would really behoove us to feature that we're doing work on it. We're going to do it. It's a routine thing that we do, you do.
Let's work
And
on,
then-
let's work on some articles that we could send to the Soper Sun that about trees in town. That might be, I like that idea. And maybe not talk about what the work is, but
Yeah, I
talk
wouldn't do
about the
that.
tree. And, that maybe that there is some decline in the tree.
There definitely is, because it's pretty
Carl,
old.
since you brought up irrigation.
That tree was probably planted before there was curb and gutter in that area.
Yeah, true.
Or the area was concreted and it dropped that space down because the tree is here and the paving is here. It probably gets a lot of water because it's down at the bottom of the intersection, coming down off the
And it-
south side of Third.
I
Let's
think
get,
even a little bit of, with regards to when a tree is in decline, what do you see? So as an arborist,
right.
the things that you see are not observable or not as apparent. Many people wouldn't know a tree is in decline until they see actual dead wood.
Right.
You might be looking at other parts of the tree. For example, the big cottonwood, right? That one, I bet a lot of people don't know that tree's got a problem. They just see the foliage at the top, the canopy. And I'm wondering if there's a way, and this is just an opportunity. There's gonna be plenty of trees. But perhaps each of if the trees are the kind of more visible trees, that we have a little story around them.
Yeah, one thing that tree does have going for it is it's kind of stubby. I mean, it has some branches that are limby out sideways, but it's not like going up, shooting up super tall. So, kind of as it slowly declines and just continues to kind of die back from the tips is what's usually happens on those cottonwoods and poplars. It's going to get kind of smaller. So it does have that going for it. Obviously there's a threshold, but yeah.
so
But yeah, I think it would be helpful. I mean, that could be something.
I have two other questions,
to
Carl.
work on.
The irrigation survey that Ally was doing.
Yes. Yep.
What, has that been completed or are we still
Well,
working on it?
Oh, yeah, that's just an ongoing. I wanted to, before they turn the irrigation off, I want to at least try to test some of the tree grates and see if the water's even working, because I know it's not even working in places. Which is why I'm not replanting anything until I know if the water is working.
Are these the ones along Main?
Just street trees, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, we at least have a better idea of where the irrigation, how they're controlled and where the zones are now. So theoretically, if that's correct, we could turn it on and go and check it. So that's kind of the next process. Obviously, that's one of those big projects. It's going to be ongoing. And I'll keep you guys updated.
I have another irrigation question. Is the irrigation in Nooch Park been resolved?
Travis, he said he was working on it.
Travis from River Valley
From
Ranch.
RVR. I don't know if he's fixed it yet, but Ally has been giving us some extra water. But yeah, no, I did talk to him and he said, yeah, it's been messed up and we're, working on it. That's about all I know. I don't know if
Okay.
if it's
The
fixed.
reason I bring that one up, that's one that resonates with many people in town. They really buy into that park. They really,
Hmm.
that's a real special place for them.
Hmm.
And so I was just curious if that had been resolved. Because we lost some trees that actually were memorial trees that were planted in that park, and we should be. And I'm glad, thanks for telling us that Ally's been giving them a little extra care.
Yeah, she's been watering she waters all the new trees at least once a week,
Oh,
if not
great.
more. It just kind of, she'll check on them. So,
Been a rough summer for that. It's been
Oh,
super
yeah.
hot and
Oh,
windy.
man.
so that really helps.
Well, it was a tough spring. It killed, like all the blossoms on our plum trees got frozen out. And then the blossoms on our oak leaf mountain ash, there's no berries on it this year. They got all frozen out this year. So it's kind of interesting,
But-
kind of interesting.
Yeah, it seemed, but I think this year we've had pretty good success with our trees that we planted. That catalpa replacement we did at the Thompson House, it flowered. So it's still going. I think we've had pretty good success. Seems like that, just keeping them watered that whole summer, that first year seems to be really helpful here. And then even the next year, kind of check on them. Something I had on here that I just wanted to make sure I mentioned. I'm working with Eric from Parks. We're looking at locations to transplant the locust trees from the pool project. And some of the locations are in Sopris Park. And I'm gonna be marking it, I'm gonna mark it on the ground. Like I'm gonna paint like an X. And I'll let you guys know when I do that. If you want to check out the locations,
Time wise?
probably in like the next week or two.
Oh, okay.
So I'll send out an email, be like, hey, I just marked, I can tell you generally.
We can notify the students at the middle school too.
Okay, yeah,
I really, it'd be pretty interesting to them. Oh, that's great, Carl.
yeah, but I can tell you right now, one of the locations. So there's the stage, right? Sopris Park. There's, what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4 oak trees.
Yeah.
And then
Like
to
an amphitheater.
kind of there's a line of trees there. One location we're thinking is just south of one of the oak trees, putting another one kind of there. So continue that arc,
Okay.
right?
To the south?
To the south.
Okay.
Yep.
You may want to put that across to the cop shop because that may interfere with their viewing when they put that trailer in for Mountain Fair.
Well, yes, yeah. And he's in contact with the Mountain Fair.
Okay.
Like that's
Well,
why
no,
I'm gonna,
the cop
great.
shop, not the Mountain Fair board people, but you know how they pull the RV in
okay.
and so they can look out on it. So if that thing's leafed out and it's going to be an issue, we'd rather know that before than once it's
Okay.
planted.
Yep. So that's one of the,
On Wednesday.
yep, I can note that. So that's one location, right off the bat, thinking, well, let's do it. Okay, if you go like where the pool is and there's gonna be the new fence is kind of pushed in towards that miners memorial.
Mhm.
And they're kind of thinking, well, we could put both of them kind of around that miners memorial. But to the right of it, we don't want to put one there because we need there's going to be a gate there. Need to get stuff in and out. And I think, well, maybe we could still put one to the left, but that kind of seems like it might be kind of blocking traffic. And then another possible is there used to be I think it was a purple robe locust memorial tree that was kind of tucked in kind of west of the park. It was a smaller one. I don't know if you guys remember that one. It died. But we could also plop one there. So those are kind of the 3 locations in Sopris Park that could be possible that I'm going to mark on the ground. And then you know, say maybe one of those works, other one doesn't. I know I can put one in over at Colorado Meadows Park, which is where we did the Arbor Day planting. And there's a ash tree that I took out there, and there's a zone
Oh, that'd be
kind of
great.
near there, and there's a bench, and it's kind of close to the park. So, and I've talked to Russell about that one. So I think that would definitely be a go for one.
Okay.
But anyhow, I'll let you guys know when I mark it, and you can, yeah, check it out.
That could be
Yeah,
some
I'm
good
around-
PR
I'm
too.
around- I'm around during the day, so you can call me and just tell me to come over.
Yep, yep,
So I have one other question though, Carl.
yes.
About trees too, concerning the Forest Service. When are they submitting the plan for planting on when?
I'm not sure.
Because I see they've marked the utility lines. As I walked over here tonight, so I'm wondering, because they do have to submit a plan.
Okay.
I mean, they said they were gonna plant 5 trees along Went in the public right of way. So,
I'll add that to my list because I can talk to him about that and the spruce tree in the corner, like what
okay,
treatments they've done to it and stuff. So that can all tie into that same conversation, right? You know, I can ask Kevin, figure out the right.
I mean, they're, you know, to my way of thinking, they're not exempt from submitting a plan.
No,
Because it is the town public right of way.
yeah, and man, I looked at, they had some kind of a plan I looked at, but it may have changed. I don't know if
Well,
it changed.
it might have changed. Their
Um,
original plan, they were gonna plant, what, 5-inch or caliper trees?
Yeah, they
or
want- yeah.
something like that, and they'd have to dig a hole that was be 20 feet wide in order to do that, but that's. whole nother story.
I'll tie that
I'm
in
finished.
with the spruce tree in the corner.
I mean, so that's interesting to bring that up because I was just trying to remember.
They're gonna straighten the sidewalk,
Mhm.
Yeah.
is what they're gonna do, so you know how it kind of curves? Yeah.
Oh,
they're-
Cut the
they're-
rest of the
You know how it
spruce
kind of
roots
curves
out.
like
Yeah.
this? They're gonna run it down there. So
Yeah.
actually it appeared that the right of way planting strip was gonna be wider
Mm.
than it was previously,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
we'll find out.
Keep inhaling and
Okay.
exhaling. I'd like to say that you took out so many ash trees without anybody paying attention because it was winter, which was a very good thing. So maybe another good PR point is if you're planting these or moving these trees, like you're removing them from the pool and putting them elsewhere, and saying that you're replacing the tree that had been harvested for emerald ash borer, to let people know that they're not just gone and forgotten. So it could be a good PR thing, and it would also be a good unit if when you're working on the tree inventory and putting it into the computer, that this was one and we had to take measures to remove this and we are replacing it with something different to try to diversify
Thanks.
the area.
Oh, thanks, Carl. That was a great report. All right, let's go home.
Okay.
I could keep going. There's always stuff.
Oh, of course, but no, you really touched on a lot of points. There's a lot on your plate. Yes, we're happy you're here. And Ally too.
We are at,
How was your trip?
That was good.
Good.
yeah, let me go ahead and adjourn.
finished.
Yeah. We are at the end of our agenda. We are at the end of our time.
Adjourn. I move.
Okay,
second.
okay. Thank you. We're adjourned now.
Ah, great. Oh, that's good.